last year, 2022 was a very bad year for me. I lost my job because I hurt my knee in January and I couldn't find a job. Um, my divorce was finalized last August, uh, and then I got evicted from my apartment, and it seemed like everybody was telling me that they didn't want me. Um, so I decided that before I got kicked out of my apartment, I was going to commit suicide because I couldn't survive on the street. So I attempted suicide. Took several months worth of my medications. Fell asleep and never intending to wake up, and woke up 2 hours later and sat there and cried because I was so worthless that I couldn't even kill myself properly. So then I got evicted a couple of days later, and I'm on the street, and I went to the library and looked up homeless resources just to see if I could find some place that I can go. And on the search engine online, the first one was Cass. They're the biggest one in the area. And the second one was here, House of Refuge. And I don't know, I didn't even bother trying to call Cass. For some reason, the House of Refuge is stuck out. But I didn't call that day. I was late in the afternoon, and I still didn't believe that anybody would take me. So I spent the night at a bus stop. And the next morning, I called the House of Refuge at 8 o'clock. Left a message. I don't think anybody was actually in the office when I called. But then Dale called me an hour later. And he said, it was a Friday morning at that point. And he says, okay, if you can get down here by 1, we'll have a room for you. So I got over there, or got over here, and he did the basic in process and gave me the hygiene supplies and the bedding and everything. And he said that Monday morning, they'd just hang out over the weekend, and Monday morning I would interview with Mike Baker, and he'd finish my processing. And then he said, welcome home. And I actually started crying. But so I spent the weekend really thinking about my situation and everything. And then Monday morning I met with Mike, and I was telling him what had occurred over the year. And as soon as I mentioned that I had attempted suicide, he stopped me, and then he got Mindy, the woman who's in charge of the women's program, and she sat down with us. And I guess it's because suicide is such a sensitive topic. You always want to witness to what's discussed and everything. And he advised that I seek help. So he gave me numbers and everything, and we called the crisis hotline, and they had a team from Teros come out, and they evaluated me and took me to the hospital. I spent 2 weeks in the hospital, seeing a psychiatrist and everything. And then after 2 weeks, actually about a week and a half, the psychiatrist determined that most of my issues were situational. So all I needed to do was change my situation more than anything. And she said, do you have some place to go? And I'm like, I don't know. And I tried to call here. All I had was the business number, which kept going to a voicemail. But I finally got through, and they said, of course, come back, which was another relief. So October 1st, I came back here, and it was another Friday, oddly enough. And I've been here since then, and I'm firmly convinced that if it wasn't for the House of Refuge, I would not be alive today. I couldn't survive on the street. I would, without the family kind of atmosphere that I see here. Like I said, when I got here, they said, welcome home. And it still brings tears in my eyes. Haven't felt like I've had a home in a long time. But, so, yeah, the House of Refuge is a wonderful organization. They've done a whole lot for me, teaching the 4 pillars. And yeah, I've always led a more secular life, never really gone to church. My parents didn't tell us not to, but they never encouraged us to either. So even though they encouraged me to read a lot and everything, I figure I've probably read several thousand books, easy. I've never read the Bible before. And now, thanks to the Bible studies and stuff here, I've read John. I was advised to start with that chapter, and then working with Matthew with the house mentors at the house I'm in now, reading Proverbs and Psalms, and I've read a little bit about, a bunch of different chapters, but I'm finding it more and more interesting, and I'm really spiritually, I think I'm growing for the first time in my life. I'm 53 years old, and I'm just now discovering what it really means to be a Christian, and that's amazing to me. I've always figured I was always intelligent and self-reliant, and I don't need anything. I can handle it all on my own. And over those last years, proved that I absolutely can't. And thanks to the House of Refuge, it's not only given me a place where I can learn how to stand up on my own again, but they're also teaching me that I don't have to be alone, and that I can't rely on God, and through the grace of Jesus, and I can succeed where I had always failed before. I can't say enough good things about the House of Refuge. I'll praise them to everybody that'll listen.
Thank you.